The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At that time, Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee, went up the mountain and sat down there. Great crowds came to him, having with them the lame, the blind, the deformed, the mute, and many others. They placed them at his feet, and he cured them. The crowds were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the deformed made whole, the lame walking, the blind able to see, and they glorified the God of Israel. Jesus summoned his disciples and said, "My heart is moved with pity for the crowd, for they have been with me now for 3 days and have nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away hungry, for fear they may collapse on the way." The disciples said to him, "Where could we ever get enough bread in this deserted place to satisfy such a crowd?" Jesus said to them, "How many loaves do you have?" "7," they replied, "and a few fish." He ordered the crowd to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish, gave thanks, broke the loaves, and gave them to the disciples, who in turn gave them to the crowds. They all ate and were satisfied. They picked up the fragments left over, 7 baskets full. The Gospel of the Lord. Humanity is desperately hungry. Do you see that? Desperately hungry. Mother Teresa said that the greatest poverty she's ever seen, and she's worked in some of the most desolate places on earth. She said the deepest poverty she has seen is actually here in the West, meaning the United States, Canada, Western Europe. People thought, "What are you talking about, Mother Teresa? We're rich, especially in the United States. We're the richest country that's ever existed on planet Earth." But she said our poverty is different. It's a spiritual poverty that we have, even though we're materially blessed beyond imagination. Says, no, our poverty is different. But is it a poverty that many of the blind, the lame, the deformed, the mute, all who came to Jesus in the gospel today, they come to him because they understand that Jesus has something that nothing in the world could satisfy or even offer. Because again, what does the world offer us? And it's not all good things. It's not bad. Wealth, power, honor, pleasure, all good things within measure. But there's still something more. Saint Nicholas, the great saint remembered today, he was a Catholic bishop in the middle of the 4th century in Smyrna, which is modern-day Turkey. And the great custom, of course, of stockings, as Christmas comes along, Christmas decorations, the commercial character of Santa Claus is based actually off a real person. I don't know if people realize it, but as they decorate the house of Santa Claus, they're decorating it with an image of a Catholic bishop, whether they realize it or not. But the custom of what he had of stockings, of putting gifts in stockings, comes from him when he would walk around the town. And in those days, you would leave your shoes outside your house. Why? Because remember, shoes are dirty, filthy. And so you don't bring them into the house where you sleep, so you leave it outside. And so St. Nicholas would go around to the poor, and he would leave treats in people's shoes. So that way, when they come out in the morning time, put on their shoes, like, oh my gosh, look, there's money, there's candy, there's food in my shoes. And so that custom of stockings now develops where we have it. But notice what St. Nicholas did and what the person in the 7 loaves and 7 fish does. As Christians, we are called to satisfy the hunger of the world. And we do that by following the example of Jesus. by giving away the gifts that God has given us. You see that dynamic? Christ has given us all in abundance of our lives, whatever amount that is. And as Christians, we're called to give it away and to offer it back to him. So Jesus will take our meager gifts to him, and then he will multiply it and transform it. It's a deep Christian spiritual principle. And we see this by the crowd, thousands of people, and they offer, Jesus, all we have is loaves and fish. Here. Jesus multiplies it and he satisfies the hunger of the crowd. We do the same. That is why, as Christians, we are the most generous religion that has ever existed on earth. And I say that not hyperbolically, but literally factual. Why? Where does that come from? Why do we give away our wealth back to the church? Why do we give away why do we have food lockers? Why do we constantly give? Well, it's this principle. Give our gifts away. And that can mean many, many different ways. Monetary, my talent, my service to the church. We offer it, our meager loaves and fishes. Jesus takes our generosity, transforms it to satisfy the deepest hunger of the human heart.